Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the AFM pre-September 2023 mock. Question number 1. So here we are going to solve all the three questions. And in the first question we have net present value with real options, which is for 50 marks. And that I'm going to show you how to score the 10 professional skill marks as well. Question number 2 is about APV, adjusted present value. And question number 3 is once again net present value with capital rationing and all. So let's go through question number 1, and let me tell you that I'm not going to read this case study word by word. When you come to this, when you come to this video, make sure that you already read all your exhibits and requirements and you know what you should do. Okay, here we are just going to solve so that this saves your time. Okay, you are prepared. So as you can see on your left, in your exhibits you are given 4 exhibits and the requirement, and your response options are 3: word processor, spreadsheet, and Black-Scholes option pricing model calculator. This, the third response option, is only for AFM. It is not for any other paper. Okay, so you can quickly go to the introduction. Okay, introduction is going to be really small. Okay, because it's just basic introduction to the case study. Okay, and then see, even if you haven't read the case study, I will tell you one thing: how to tell that which part of the syllabus it is from. Okay, as you can see here, investment details and also info, you can see option to sell. This itself should tell you this question is about net present value and real option. Okay, so it's understood. Now I will open 2 and you will see they have given you this information is very small, so it should not take you so much of time to read. It's not lengthy case studies. Okay, and even 3 is also not so small, but you have some figures and all, and 4 option to sell. Okay, so now let us go through the requirements. Okay, A, B, and C, and let me tell you, when you are answering this requirement, you can answer this requirement in any order. Why? Because A and B you don't need for C. A and B are your theory questions. Even without C you can write it. C is the one where we are going to focus our major attention. Why? It carries heavy marks, and C is the one where your professional skill mark is going to be tested, because you have to write a report in C. Okay, so let us read the requirements. A, you have to explain possible strategies the company could adopt to avoid a block on dividend remittances. Okay, so this is the key theme. Okay, you have studied this, which is for 4 marks. So at least you could give 2, one for identifying, one for explaining. So 2 marks for 2 strategies. Okay, because you have to explain. If the question was identify, then you would have to give 4 points, because explain means you identify 1 point and explain, so 2 marks, one for identification, one for explanation. You understanding? B, discuss the role of WTO and benefits and drawbacks of reducing protectionist measure. So that means this company, okay, might have reduced their protectionist measure. Now you have to talk about advantages, disadvantages, and role. 3 requirements with 6 marks. So you can say two role you can give for WTO, 2 advantages, 2 disadvantages. Okay, always divide like that. And the C, you need to prepare a report for the board of directors. Okay, discussing these 3 parts. As you can say, this is 12 marks. It's calculation. Even this one is calculation. First 2 are calculation, third you have to write a report. Here, first one, before you consider the Galaxy course offer, you have to value the project. That means before the option to sell, you have to value the project. In short, they are telling you to calculate net present value. Directly they are not saying. Indirectly, net present value. B is also the same, but here also you have to estimate value of project after taking the offer. That means you have to add the value of the real option to net present value and C. And third one, okay, I'm sure first 2 you could do it, you can do it. Students often struggle in the third one, writing part. So in this video, I'm also going to show you how to pick the important points and write. Because you have to score. You need marks for writing as well. You need to score, not only calculation. So discussion of the assumptions made in part first one and the second one. You see, third one you can write. You need the first and the second one. This is dependent. So a discussion of the assumptions made in part 1 and 2 and additional business risk the company should consider before making the financial final decision whether they have to go ahead with the project or not. And professional skill marks for analysis, evaluation, skepticism, commercial acumen. That I'm going to show you while we are writing. There is no additional thing that you have to write for this professional skill marks. No, no, no. This you will get while writing your answer. For example, if you're writing the report format, if you're using the correct tone, if you're questioning, challenging assumptions, if you're using evidences from all the exhibits, you will get the professional skill marks. Okay. I know students often panic in question number 50 for AFM, the first question, because looking at numbers, because the calculations that you have to do is heavy. Let me tell you this, it's heavy. But with practice, if you have practiced enough mocks, okay, you will not panic. Okay. Even if you have made mistake somewhere, let me tell you, still carry forward. Because with that mistake also, whatever assumptions you write, you will get marks. Only 1 mark you might lose for the final answer. Okay. But try not to make the mistake. In case you make and you see you don't have enough time, don't go back and change the answer. Okay. And let me tell you one thing. In my AFM, even I made a mistake. My first question was net present value. Same like you, option 2. It was a call option. Okay. This is a put option because option to sell. So there I made some mistake in that table, cash flow table, while calculating net present value. I know, like I forgot to add working capital requirements. What I did, I didn't have enough time. I carried forward with that mistake. And still I managed to pass AFM. Not only pass AFM, I was a prize winner for AFM as well. So I'm a living example for that, right? You don't have to go anywhere else. So now there is another thing, okay, I will share with you after solving this question, that is how to select or how to know what type of theory questions might be tested from me. It is based on your case study. Okay, so that I will teach you, but let us first solve this question number 1. So now you decide, you want to solve A or B or C, any order is fine. Okay, if this thing was given to me, I would have solved C first because it's calculation. I want to finish off with my calculations and all, so that I don't panic and I can nicely write A and B. A and B won't take so much of time. Okay, and always stick to your time. That is 1.8 minutes per mark. Okay, so first I'm going to solve C, but you can do from A, B, and C, no harm, provided you stick with your time. Okay, so first is C, where I need an estimate of value of the project. Okay, now you have decided you are going to do C. Okay, tell me in which order, I mean from where you start. We have decided to do C. Tell me from which order you start. It's very important that you know from where to start, because it's too much of thing. Excel is there. Then we have a report to write. See, let me tell you. There is 2 ways you can do this question solve. Either first read everything, the case study, and start writing the form. Sorry. Start writing it in the format of the report. Okay. Leave blank, leave space wherever you can't write. Leave it, but finish the format of the report. Once done, go back and do the calculation. The other way is forget about the report, don't read anything, start with the calculation and then start writing the report. Any way is fine. So I'm going to adopt the second method. First we'll do the calculation. Okay, and remember, your calculation does not come in the main report. See, your main report you have to write in the word processor. Let me tell you this. So here you are not going to do any calculation. For calculation, we are going to use spreadsheet. Okay. So we'll open the spreadsheet, keep it ready, okay? And remember, when you're writing the calculation, write it under appendixes, okay? So here two things you have to calculate: net present value, real option. So so it will come under two appendixes. Appendix 1, value of the project without option. Appendix 2, value of the option with appendix. The same strategy you can apply for your exam also if you get option like this, okay? This is how you have to do. I'm telling you the way, okay? So you can write. First, write the proper heading. You have to write this because okay, appendix 1. This is appendix 1. Don't just write appendix 1, give a label to it, okay? So I'm going to write value of the project before the offer. Value of the ASGARD project before Galaxico offer, okay? So I don't want to keep this in so many cells. What I'm going to do, I'm going to drag this so that it comes in B, okay? This you can do. Now, what is it? Calculation of net present value. Just write net present value is enough. Okay, I'm going to make this bold, okay? Make sure that you keep your headings bold so that it stands out. Clearly you have to label like this, okay? Then, now, you can keep your years in separate columns. We don't know how many years, and we'll keep the currency here, okay? We still don't know what is the currency. Okay, so now we are going to open this and see. Let me tell you, since I have read this case study, you also read and come, okay? This is about a company who is planning to open its business in a country where earlier they had some restrictions, okay? Now they have reduced those restrictions, protective measures you can say, okay? And they have some discussions with World Trade Organizations and things like that, okay? And the nation is known as Asgard, okay? This is the country. In the first para they have discussed that. Now this company is into CNEX company is into producing packaged foods, okay? This is his line of business. You can highlight, go here, highlight, okay? Packaged foods. So he wants to set his manufacturing base in Asgard, okay? And then he's going to sell this to other regional countries also. Now, an initial investigation cost is 100,000. Always highlight your amounts, okay? You can highlight it in any color, okay? Because they believe that they have manufacturing facility, transport is there, labor is skilled and cheap, okay? And all these things that going earlier will give them advantage, then the demand will increase by reducing protection measures. All these things has been discussed there, and this is for a period of 5 years, okay? This project is for 5 years. After that it will cease. So now you know you have to calculate cash flow for 5 years, okay? That's what this says, nothing much. Going to 2, okay? I'm going to zoom this out for you because it's very small. Here they have given you the currency. See, this is international, so you have to deal with currency also. You have to adjust your currency, okay? So here your currency is peso. AP is the currency. You have to convert this to dollar, okay? So here this is the currency rate. at 75 AP per $1. Okay. Using this, you can convert this. Now, so think what information you'll be given. Initial investment, working capital, depreciation, your sales, your expense, cost, everything. All this will be given. And your cost of capital to discount, then some information to for you to calculate your foreign exchange rates for year 1 to 5, things like this only, right? So quickly, I can just highlight those things. Initial investment is 2,500 million AP. Everything is in AP, except few things are in dollar. Then out of this initial investment, this is how this 2,500 comes. 500 is for land and buildings, 2,000 is for machinery. Okay, land and building is 500 and machinery is 2,000. Okay, machinery, wait. Machinery is AP 2000 million. Everything is in million, okay? Now, tax allowable depreciation is available on machinery on a straight line basis and has no sales value. So when you divide this, you have to divide 2000 by 5, which is going to be 400. Okay? Now, then market value of land and building is estimated to be, in 5 years time, is estimated to be 1100. This is about land and building. That means at the end of the 5 year, you have to write this 1100. Then this land and building amount is inclusive of any tax impact. Okay. Now, they will require 250 of working capital. Immediately 250 is required, but this will be released at the end of the 5 year. Okay. The project ceases at the end of 5th year and the working capital will be released back. Okay. Now, third one. Major information is given here. You can see, you can take like this and make it bigger. I hope now you can see. Now, here you have been given how many you have sold. Okay. Your production units for the first 5 year. Okay. Now, here you will be given the selling price and the cost and the inflation and tax rate, all those things. Okay. So here the current selling price is 115,200. And the cost is 46,500 AP. Okay. In addition to this cost, there is some additional cost for special packaging material. Okay. This one is in dollar, you see. So you first have to convert it into AP, then back to dollar. Because when you're deducting cost, everything is in AP. That's why you have to first take this to AP, deduct it, find your cash flow. At the end, you have to convert it back to dollar. It's a long process, but you have to do it. Okay. Then we have other costs, training and development cost. Okay. Which is 80% of the selling cost in the first year. See, this excludes any cost of special packaging. It only includes this 46,500, only the normal cost. So training and development is 80% of that cost in the first year. And in the second year, the cost falls from 80 to 20% of those costs. This is for training and development. After that, it's nil, you see, and then nil for the remaining years. Because training and development you will not have for all the 5 years, no? Only first 2 years. Then, now the inflation, okay? Cost. The cost for production and sales will increase by 10%. Annually by 10%. This is the inflation. But selling price and special packaging cost will only increase by 5%. Two things will increase only by 5%. Okay. Now the tax rate. Tax rate in ASCA is 25, but in Synax, okay, wherever he is related, it is at 20%. You see? But they have a double tax treaty. Double tax treaty means he's not going to pay extra. I mean, he's going to be offset for the extra tax he has paid overseas. Okay, bilateral tax treaty is there. So corporation tax is 25. And here it is 20%. You need this, especially the third one. And the fourth one is about real option. So for real option, tell me what are the details you need to calculate Black-Scholes option pricing model. 5 variables. So this information is about those 5 variables: standard deviation, real time risk-free rate, time, uh, exercise price, and the price of the underlying asset. These are the information you can expect in this one. Okay. So here they have given you risk adjusted cost of capital is 12% on the dollar based cash flow. That means once you have converted into dollar, the discount, okay, the cost of capital that you need to discount your cash flow is 12%. So you see, to calculate your net present value, part C, you need information from all these 4 exhibits. It is not everything is in under one exhibit. This is what I wanted to show you. You need help of all the exhibits, especially during calculation, and which is higher than the return on the short dated dollar treasury bills of 4%. See, this 4% you can take as a risk free rate, okay, for your Black-Scholes option pricing model. Now, you need information to calculate your exchange rate. You are only given 75 paise per $1 at time 0. What about 1 to 5? How do you calculate? You need two things. Recall, how can you calculate exchange rate? Predict 2 ways, either through inflation, either through interest rate. Differences of interest rate or difference of inflation of the two country. You need either of this. So nothing has been mentioned about interest, but you have been given the inflation rate of the two countries. So using this inflation, you can predict exchange rate. Okay. Inflation in ASCA is 8% and inflation in the company where it is based, it is 2%. So you can calculate the inflation, the difference of the inflation of the two country and predict exchange rate. Okay. It is as if exchange rate will not change for the foreseeable future. Okay. And all cash flows will be remitted back to this company. Now, so they have given the standard deviation at 35%. And they have given the option to sell at 35 at the start of year 3. Start of year 3 means after year 2. Okay. This is, you can say, exercise price. And they will make the decision whether to sell or not at the end of year 2. Okay. So now everything has been given to you. So now where to start? And this you can keep uh, in millions. Okay. So now you will start with year 0. Always you have to take 0, not 1 to 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I'm going to make it bold and center. Okay. Now we'll start with sales value. Only one income we have. Cash inflow is only one. That is through sales. Rest everything is cost. So sales. For sales, we need to keep this under working. We need a working. We need to multiply the volume with the selling price and also the inflation. You see, same for the cost. So we'll keep this as working 2, not 1. See, Working one, always keep your exchange rate. Okay, I'll tell you this. Whenever you are doing transactions with overseas, you definitely need to predict exchange rate for 4 years or 5 years or 3 years, depending on the case study. Always keep your working one as exchange rate. I mean, your exchange rate. Next, sales and then the cost and all those things. Okay. Now, first finish the main table. If you could do otherwise, straight away you could go to working to finish sales, then come and pick this right in this table. Then you can do like that also. Okay, but I do it in another way. Okay, first I fill the table, then I go back to do the workings because I know what I should put in that table. This is my main table. Separate working is there. Okay, so then I'm going to deduct my production cost. This I'll keep this as working 3. Always label like this. When you're using a working, sorry, I'm going to make this little, width I can make it bigger so that it fits in this. Inside bracket, working 3. Label that it's working 1, 2, 3. So it becomes very easy for you. Don't just write working, working, working. You don't know what working. So put a number for each working. And better if you put in the order given in the table. Because first you started with sales, so obviously it makes sense that before calculating cost I will calculate sales, because that's what I'm going to put in the table first. So makes sense that sales is working 2, then production cost is 3, then other cost is 4, 5, 6, like that. Okay, because this will be very quick for you also. And which currency? Everything will be in AP. Okay, I can just drag this into other cell, automatically it will be copied rather than typing every time. Okay, so this center. Okay, now what's the next? Special packaging cost. Okay, SP. I'm going to put use initials SP, special packaging. Okay, this I need a working for this as well. So this is working 4. 4. This is also AP. I'm just going to simply drag like this because everything is AP. Next, tax allowable depreciation, TAD. Then training and development. See, for depreciation I don't need any working. Just simply divide that 2000 by 5. So I'm not going to put any working. Training and development, T and D. This also I don't need any working. Why? Simply you just take 80% of the cost and 20% of the cost of year 1 and 2. Halas. Now, profit before tax was the next. The amount that you get is going to be known as profit before tax. PBT. Okay, I'm going to make this bold. Then you need to deduct your tax from this. Tax. How much? What percent? Tax at what percent? ASGAT 25%. So 25%. Because everything is in AP, it is in ASGAT. So at 25%, not 20%. Okay. Then the amount that you are going to get is going to be your profit after tax. PAT. Remember, once you get profit after tax, you have to convert this into your cash flow. It is still profit. You can't discount your profit and get net present value. You have to bring your profit to cash flow. So what are you going to do? Add back your depreciation. Depreciation is not a non-cash expense. Okay, it's a non-cash expense. You have deducted it while calculating profit. Now you need to add back to get cash flow. So add TAD, tax allowable depreciation. And now deduct your initial investment and everything. Okay, your investment, initial investment. Then working capital you need to deduct. And what else? You have sold your land. That's why they have given the market value at the end of 5th year. So the sale of land you have to add. Okay, you can't take the sale of land and add with sales and say that is cash inflow. No, this you have to deduct after you convert it into cash flow. These are cash expenses. Then you are going to get your cash flow in AP. This is your cash flow in AP. CF. Okay, wait. Yeah, cash flow in AP. This also I'm going to keep it bold. Once you get your CP, okay, everything, all this will be in AP. So I'm just simply going to drag this to, oh, wait. You need this plus sign here. This. Okay, everything is in AP. Even this is in AP. So now it's in AP. What do? You need to convert this into dollar now. Cash flow in dollar. Now it will be in dollar. Okay. Now everything else will be in dollar. So once you have converted, what do you need? You need a discount factor to discount. At what percent? 12%. They have given you. This will be in dollar as well. So once you get the discount factor at 12%, you need to put this from the table, okay? Input it from the table rather than directly discounting it. Then discount factor. That means after you multiply this, okay, cash flow in dollar with discount factor, you get the discounted DCF. Then what's the final thing? Net present value. Net present value in millions. Okay. Finally, once you are done, you need to write a statement. You need to write a statement down whether you have to accept the project or not. If the net present value is positive, you accept the project. If it is negative, you do not accept the project. Okay, first we'll finish appendix 1, then we'll go to appendix 2. Because appendix 2 will not take so much of time. 1 takes time. Because you can use the calculator, this calculator, to calculate your option. Okay, so now, since I need working for this, this and this, and also working one to calculate exchange rate, 4 workings. So what I'm going to do, I'm quickly going to go to my working and finish all the 4 workings in one go. Then I don't need working any longer. I can just start putting it in the table. Okay, you see, I'm following an order, a structure, rather than doing it in a very haphazard way from here, from there. I'm writing the report also, I'm doing calculation also. Don't do this. Either do calculation only or just write the report and then come to calculation. Do one thing. My advice is first always finish the calculation. Okay, because once you are correct, once you have finished the calculation, let me tell you, when you're writing the report, you'll be very fast and very effective, because you don't have that panic in mind. Oh, I have to do this calculation. Oh, I have to do this. You have your answers ready with you. You know net present value is positive or not. You know the value of the real option. You know you have to go ahead with the project or not. You have these answers. Then only you can write the report. Then only you can write about your other theory parts also, additional business risks and all. Okay, so quickly I'm going to go to my working. Okay, 4 workings are there: exchange rate, sales, production cost, special packaging cost. I'm going to do that. Okay, now let's do that. So this, okay, you can put it here. After this, I'll keep some space. Working 1. So you don't need any working for your appendix 2. All the working is for appendix 1 only. Okay, working 1. Working 1 was for exchange rate, forex. This was year 0. Okay. Now, so exchange rate was given as AP per $1. Okay. How much? For year 0, this is year 0. Okay. 75. Make your exchange rate into 2 decimal places. Okay. So this, I'll convert this into 2 decimal places. How? I'll go here and I'll put this. You just need to click this. Okay. Now, here where I need a working here. I just can't do that. Equal to. You need to click this. So you need to multiply this with the inflation of the country and divide this inflation of our country. But tell me, what inflation comes in the numerator? What comes in the denominator? This you have to decide. Once this is decided, rest all is nothing but just drag it to the other cell. That's it. Because every time on that exchange rate, you will multiply the inflation of one country and divide the inflation of another country. You will multiply the inflation of one country, divide the inflation of another country. It keeps repeating like this for 5 years. Year 0, 75. So on this 75, you will multiply. Then you get an answer for year 1. On that year 1, again you will multiply and divide inflation. Year 2, multiply, divide. Year 3, multiply. Like that you will get. So for here, you need to go to 3. Okay. You have to see, go back and see where the inflation is given. I think it has been given in 2. No, not even 2. Okay. 4? Yes, it's 4. So here you have been given inflation in XZ is 8 and 2 is, okay, tell me, what is the currency of ASGAT? It's in AP, right? And you have been given the amount in AP. It is 75 AP per $1. So whichever currency you have been given, that country's inflation you have to multiply. Okay? You understanding what I'm saying? Okay, I'll do it here for you. Scratch pad. Okay? You have been given, I'll show you in the scratch pad. AP 75 is equal to $1. Okay? So when you have to find AP, now you are in AP. Okay? You need to multiply AP's inflation rate with AP currency and divide the dollar. You understanding? Every time same currency you multiply, different currency you divide. So you are in AP. If it was in dollar, if every cash flow was in dollar, then yes. If exchange rate was given the other way around, $75 equal to 1 AP. Then you multiply by dollar inflation rate and divide by AP inflation rate. I will give the AP also. Okay. AP is 8%. Dollar is 2%. These are the inflation rate. So which currency are we in? AP is given as 75. Look, the currency next to the number. Forget about 1. 1 is the base currency. We don't want the base currency now. Look at this one. 75 is in AP. So we multiply the AP's inflation rate. This is the technique you should know. Every time, whatever currency is given, that country, with that currency, you multiply that country's inflation rate and divide the other currency. You understood? So if you have understood this, you have understood everything. What is the name for this? Where you're using the inflation rate of the two country to predict exchange rate? Purchasing power parity. We have two things: interest rate parity, purchasing power parity, PPP and IRP. We have studied this too. In my lectures, I've taught you this. PP is inflation, IRP interest rate parity, interest rate of the two country. But it's the same method. Instead of inflation, you'll be given interest and use the same. So this is the technique. So because it's in AP, 75 is in AP, you will multiply 75 with 8%. AP's inflation rate and divide it by 2%. Dollars inflation rate. So it will be like this. 75 into 1 plus the inflation rate. 1 plus 8%. So 1.08. Okay. divide this by 1.02, 1 plus the inflation rate of the dollar. This is fixed. The only thing is you need to know which inflation to divide, which inflation to multiply. So this is 75 in AP, this is in AP's inflation, multiply. This is dollar inflation, divide. So you will be getting some answer. Let's say you have got an answer as 6. For example, let's assume, okay, we'll keep 77. This is just assume 77 for. So this will be the exchange rate for year 1. This is year 0, 75. This will be for year 1. Again, to find year 2, on this 77, same thing. Multiply by 1.08, divide by 1.08. Every time you keep multiplying by 1.08, divide by 1.02. Multiply by 1.08, divide by 1.02 on the new number. So that's what we are going to do here. So keep this and multiply 1.008, divide by 1.02 and enter. Keep this also in 2 decimal places. Everything in 2 decimal places, exchange rate. So go here and click here. Done. So now I'm going to take this and copy it into the other cell. Just see what happened. See, you just need to copy, drag, drag it to the other cell. You only need to perform the function once, formula once, and then copy paste. That's it. It saves time. You see, I didn't do it for every cell manually. Only for year 1 I need to do it here. You can always click back and see whether the function performed is correct or not. You see, with this they have multiplied 1.08 divided by 1.02. Here, with the previous cell, multiply by 1.08 divided by 1.02. That's what they have done every time. And since you have formatted here into 2 decimal places and then dragged it, automatically answers will be in 2 decimal places. This is your time saving technique. Okay, you learn this and you save great amount of time. Then done. Working 2, sales. Keep it short, it's fine. If you write working 2 sales is enough, because in the answer they have written calculation of inflated sales and those things is given. It's fine, write sales is enough. Keep this here. Okay, we'll later copy paste it to the table. So now year 0 is nothing. Okay, for sales it starts from 1 to 5. So you need number of batches, the volume they have already given you. So first year they have given it in 2, I think, no, 3. You see, these are the units. This you have to take. So 10,000, 15,000, 30,000, 26,000, and again 15,000. Done. What do you need? Sales price. You need the sales price. How much is the sales price? 3. They have given you 115, 200 AP. So 115, 200. I'm just going to drag it to the other cell. We haven't inflated this yet. Okay, now sales value. Sales value in AP. What do you do? Multiply sale price by volume. So this into this, enter. You see this number is very big. That's why it's coming in E. So you have to take this, make this bigger so that you get the full amount. Full number is shown. Okay. This also same. This also same. Same here. It goes a little towards that. Okay. this. So now you don't have to do anything. Copy paste it to the other cell, drag it. Okay, you see? Now, inflation is there, right? Inflation has occurred. So inflated sales in AP. How much was the inflation for sales price? They told it increased by 5%, right? It increased by 5%. Sales and special increased by 5%. Cost of production 10%. So now, what are you going to do? Take this, multiply it by 5%, 1.05 first year. Enter. Can you drag it to the other cell? You could have if it was on the same amount was same. But now you see it's different amounts. So you can't do it. Okay. So for example, if I drag this, what happened? It will be wrong. Why? Click here and see what happened. On this amount, they have taken 1.05. 1.05. So what do you have to do? You again have to multiply 1.05 because it's for the second year. Or you could do it another way, to the power 2, like this. See, you always have to take it to the power of the year. If it was for the second year, to the power 2, third year to the power 3, fourth year to the power 4, like that. But it remains 1.05 only on that amount. Enter. Okay. Now, same here. Go here, click, multiply 1.05 to the power 3. Enter. Same. Equal to this multiply by 1.05 to the power 4, fourth year, and here equal to this amount multiply by 1.05. By the way, if you don't know how to put the power sign, it is shift 6. This thing has to come, okay, this sign, and 5 goes to the power 5. Enter. Done. Now you can see, right? So now you can do one thing. See, this amount is very big, right? It's very big. You can do another way. You can drop the millions because these numbers are too big to deal with. Either you can just copy paste it or you can drop the millions and do it. For example, now you can write sales value in millions. Okay, sales value in millions. Okay, so how are you going to do it? See, you always have to know this technique. Okay, if you have to drop it in thousands or 10,000s or million, it is just simply you divide it by it. If you want to make this into millions, click this number, divide it by 1 million. How many zeros are there? 6 zeros. 1 2 3 1 2 3. Enter. Automatically it will come to you in millions. The reason we have done it, it was not necessary, but it becomes easier for you to deal with small number rather than dealing with all these big numbers. Okay, because if you see the main table also, I have written here it in millions. That means I've dropped the millions. But if I would have not written this here, let's say I have erased it, then you could have copy pasted the entire amount. Okay, so try both the ways and see. So same, when you need to drag this to the other cell. Okay, automatically it would be it would come down to millions. Okay, so okay, for a change in your answer they have taken in millions, I'll take the whole amount and see. Okay, for a change, so I will not write this in millions, rather I will take the entire amount because you anyway have your answer. You can check there. it's in millions. So I will take the exact amount, okay? Just for a change. But at least know how I have taken the answer in million. Same way, if you would have to taken this in thousand, just divide it by 1000. That's it. This is the technique. At least learn the technique. Whether you put it in millions or not is not a big deal. So I'm going to go here, copy from one, paste special because I've done a function there, formula is there. So I could write value or I could write the formula, anything. I would choose formula with the formula. So once I click here, I can see the formula. If I would have copy pasted with value only, okay, if I would have clicked here, nothing would come here. It is just the number they have copy pasted. It doesn't come with the value. That is the only difference. But it's up to you. But I prefer doing it with formula so that the moment they click here, easily they can see the formula. It becomes very easy also. Okay, I'll make this bigger so that the whole number can be seen because it looks good if you can see the whole number rather than keeping it. So don't keep yourself small. That's what I would advise you. Okay. Now, production cost. So production cost also same like sales, only inflation and amounts are different. Working 3. Cost. I'll just write cost. Okay. Number of batches. You don't have to write, just go to the sales and copy paste. This I can just copy paste because no function has been there. You see? Then production cost. PC production cost. How much is the production cost? Go to 3 and see, it is 46,500. So 46,500. 46. I'm going to take this. Take it to the other cell. And okay, production cost, right? Production cost. Simply multiply this by this amount. Enter. And drag it to the other cell. Okay. Now what? Inflation. Inflation is at 10% for production cost. Inflated production cost. It was 5% for sales. Here it's 10%. So here you multiply this by 10%, 1.1. This one. Multiply by 1.1 to the power 2 because it's for year 2. Then here 1.1 to the power 3. You need to be a little fast, okay? When you're typing, you need to be a little fast. So this into 1.1 to the power 4. And here this into 1.1 to the power 5. Enter. Okay. So it's your choice. You can take this into millions. Like same way how I've done for sales. Divide these figures by 1 million and get it in millions and show it. So I'm going to copy paste the amount. But in my opinion, if you ask me, I would always tell better to show it in millions. Drop it in millions and show it. Better to deal the main table in small number. It's easier for you also. Otherwise, it's very confusing to read all those figures and to check whether it's correct or not. But I just wanted to show you what if you do it in big number. What if someone choose to do it in this way and then what happens? Okay. But you have the main answers with you. So it should be fine. Copy. Okay. When you copy paste here, remember this answers are in positive. You have to deduct it. So how are you going to do this? Better to change these figures from here itself. Okay. What you could do is simply equal to this, you multiply it by minus 1. You convert the positive to minus and then copy paste. So it becomes easier. Because anyway in the main table also you have to change it to minus. Because you have to deduct it. This are not positive figure. Copy. Paste special. You see. Now special packaging cost. Working for. I think this is the last working. Special packaging. Here again you need batches. Batch. So I'm just going to copy paste. This one's 15,000. After that, special packaging cost is in dollar. Remember. Okay. Cost in dollar. It was how much? 200. Isn't it? 200. Now you multiply. Okay. This multiply by this. Right. Drag it. Now what's next? You have to inflate this at what percent? 5%. Okay. So you have to inflate. Inflate. Still it's in dollar. Later you have to convert it into AP because in your cash flow, it is AP cash flow. You have to deduct everything in AP. You can't keep this in dollar and deduct dollar cash flow from AP cash flow. No, everything has to be in same currency. Okay. So here, this 1.05. Sorry, multiply by 1.05 to the power 1, no need to show. Done. You could do this in another way. Just drag it. But when you drag it, just go here and just add another 1.05 for the second year. Here also go to the function. Okay. Just put this to the power 3. Here also go and just put to the power 4. And here go and just put here to the power 5. 5. Enter. You see? Automatically change. Now, What's next? You have to convert this into AP. It is in dollar. You can't keep it in dollar. So how are you going to do this in this one? Go to your working one. This is where your working one helps you. You already have your exchange rate ready with you. This you need here. But tell me, you need to multiply or divide. This is a very critical area. Students get confused to multiply or to divide, to multiply or to divide. See, it is in AP. All these are in AP. This is 75.141 AP equal to $1. And your currency is in dollar. So dollar and AP, different currency, you multiply. You need to multiply, not divide. Because it's in different currency. Different currency multiply, same currency divide. This is the rule. So equal to, okay, you need for from year 1 onwards, okay. Here, inflated AP. So you go here and you multiply this with this. Enter. Wait. Put this, multiply this with this. Enter. See? Can you see this? So next time you can just once only you have to do and then copy paste it to the other cell. Now you see the number has become too big. So it becomes very confusing to deal with this big number. One more thing I want to tell you. Before you do this, if you want to drag it to the other cell, okay? For example, here only once you have done it. Others you have copy pasted. It worked perfectly. Why? Because the amount that you have put there and the this one, the exchange rate that you have put are in the same column. It needs to be in the same column. For example, if the 79.41 was in another column and down you have put it in the next column, then it will be wrong. Then it will give a wrong answer. Function will be correct. It will perform exactly in the same, but it will perform it in the different cell. That's why you have to make sure that you put the, for example, year 1 will be in year 1 column. When you are writing down also, it's in year 1. Here, 79.41 falls in this column C, which is for the first year. And even your amount is also for the first year. It matched. So that's why when it was copied from year 2 to 5, it worked perfectly well. This you have to make sure that it falls in the same cell. Year 1 is 2, sorry, year 1 is C, year 2 is D, year 3 is E, year 4 is F, and year 5 is G. How you have put the exchange rate, even your cash flow has to be in the same column. If it puts in the different cell, it will not, different column, then it will not perform the function. I mean, function will be performed correctly, but in wrong amount. Then you will get the wrong answers. This you have to make sure. Okay, you have to be very, very careful in that. If you don't want to do that, okay, then you have to manually do it every time and check, which is going to be again time consuming. So once when you do it perfectly. Later that it saves time, okay. And now since the amount has become very, very big, round this to the whole number. That would be my advice, okay. So how do you do that? How do you do that? You just see here. Okay, first we'll just copy paste. Okay, copy, paste special. Again I'm going to click formulas, okay, and make sure that this amount, if you want to make it minus, okay, what you can do is just simply go to the function and multiply it by -1. Automatically the amount becomes minus, okay. Just see whether I can take it to the other cell or not. Okay, just copy paste, drag it to the other cell, automatically everything will become negative. You see these numbers are very big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to this and format this into whole number. Go to general, custom, and go here. This 0 you have to click. Okay. Okay. Now you see. Say I'm going to do for this two as well. Go here, custom, 0. Okay. It's already there. So this becomes a little easier rather than dealing with 0.56 decimal places. Keep it as a whole number. So workings are over. Now TAD is easy. It is equal to 2000. That means 2 million divided by 5. Enter. This has to be minus 1. So just put it in bracket. Multiply this by minus 1. That's it. It's 400. Okay. For all the 5 years, it's 400. Where did the page go? I guess it. I think the page disappeared. So now training and development. Training and development 80% of first year of the production cost and 20% for year 2. So simply I'm going to take this and multiply it by 80%. Either you can multiply it by 0.8 or 80%. Enter. Now, okay, just a minute. What I've discovered is that this should be 400,000 because everything else we are taking it in the whole amount except 400. We are keeping it in millions. We have dropped the millions. So we have to take the full amount. Just a minute. We'll go to, it is 2000 million. Okay, it's not 2 million, it's 2000 million. Okay, so we have to add 1 2 3 1 2 3 6 more zeros. Enter. Okay, and now we have to copy to the other cell. Okay, you see, because 400 is a very small amount when you compare it with the other figure. I've just discovered it. Now the next, for the second year, is just 20% of the production cost. So it's just equal to, take this production cost, multiply it by 20%. Enter. And it's done. Now we need profit before tax. Okay, so it is simply, here it will be 0. Okay, here it will be 0. There's no profit before tax for year 0. Okay, now it is just the sum function. So when you do the sum function, automatically this amount will be deducted. Why? Because it's in minus. If you don't, okay, if you want to deduct without the sum function, then remember, rather than deducting, it will be added, because minus minus becomes added. Okay, that's why you have to use sum function here. So just simply drag like this and enter. Okay, and then you just need to copy paste it to the other cell. That's it. You see, and now I'm going to go here. For this, I'm going to go here, custom, and 0. Okay, year 1 it is giving a loss. Okay, others it is, we are having a profit before tax. Now we have to take 25% on this Okay, we have to take tax on this. So here it would be equal to 25% on this amount. Enter. Okay, just a minute. There is something which is wrong here. Okay, I've discovered the mistake. There is some mistake, and the mistake is in the special packaging working for, because this amount is not matching with the answer. So I need to go to my working for, and yes, you see the mistake in the special packaging is here. It should be this. Okay, so the rest others are correct. Now I need to wait just a minute. 278. Okay, so automatically, since I've copy pasted the formula, automatically this gets adjusted. You see, I don't have to copy paste it again. The moment I change there, automatically it gets adjusted here as well. This is the benefit of copy pasting it with the formula rather than just the value. If you copy paste the value, mind you, again you have to manually go to that place and change, which is time consuming. Okay, so now the tax is correct. Okay, this amount is correct now. So just I need to drag it to the other cell. Okay, the others are correct. I'm just going to make it to the whole number, custom, and then 0. Okay, okay. Now what do you have to do? I have to deduct this. Okay, so when I deduct it, it's the sum function, because already this, no, I can't do the deduct function because this are in positive figure. Okay, so I have to do minus. So here this minus this, enter. Okay, I can drag it to the other cell because this is a positive figure. So if you do minus, it will be deducted. Now this amount I'm going to keep it as the whole number. Go here, custom, 0. Okay, okay. Now add back this TAD. Okay, so another shortcut you can do, see, when you have to copy paste here, again you have to change it to minus, a plus. Okay, so rather than doing it, just do like this: 2 million, 2000 million, 123 123 divide by 5. Just do the function here again, that's it, and just copy paste. This saves time. Okay, now investment is, how much is the investment? It is 2500 million, right? 2500 million. So I'm going to deduct it from here. From where? 0. Here 0. So minus 2500 is million. 123 123. Just add 6 more zeros after 2500. Then working capital. Working capital is 250,000. 250 million, I'm sorry. So 250 from year 0. 123 123. And you are going, and this is going to be released back at the end of 4 year. So you have to go to, sorry, at the end of 5 year. So go to year 5. Okay, and put this 250 million. 123 123. Done. Next, sale of land. The market value is 1100 million. So here 1100, 123, 123. Make sure the zeros are correct. Now what's next? Just the cash flow. Okay, so cash flow, you just need to deduct the outflows and add the inflows. So you can't do the sum function here because there are some addition and some deduction, like here if you see. Basically, okay, you can do the sum function because this is addition. So just to enter here. Here when you do the sum function, you can't copy paste it because here they have already taken this two cell. So when it is copy pasted to the other cell, if you drag it, it will only take this two cell. There is no number here, you see. So it's incorrect. So here when you do the sum function, you have to do it like this. With your P80, look at your P80, this one. Okay, you have to take this two number. Okay, when you take this two number, okay, until year 4 you could do the same thing, but not here because here we have two more additional things. So when you copy paste it, it will only take this two, it will not take this. So here you have to individually do it again. Sum function, okay, you have to add here this, enter, and I'm going to change this number as a whole number, custom 0 0. Okay, see, now can you see? Okay, now you have to convert this into dollar. This is in AP. So when you convert it into dollar, already you have done this function in working one. Okay, so what are you going to do? Divide or multiply. This is in AP. The currency is in AP. Same currency, divide. So this you have to divide it by, this is year 0. Okay, you have to take 75. So we'll go up and do it. Sorry, down here. But it's in a different cell. You see? So when you do the function, it will not automatically take it because it's in column B and your one is in C. So just take 75. I'm sorry. You have to divide this by 75. Divide this by, this is the issue. Divide this by 75. Okay. When you take this, just you can drag it to the other cell. Custom, this one. Okay. Just see whether it's correct or not. Yes, it is. Okay. The moment it worked, because when you go here, you see, this will be divided by this will be divided by this, like that. So now you need to find the discount factor at 12%. At year 0 it is 1. But other years you have to find out. Where can you get it? You have to go here, help formula sheet, AFM formula, go down, go to the present factor, okay? %, okay? So these are the things you have to copy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you do this? Let me check. I don't think we can copy it from the table. Copy. The reason we have to copy paste it is that it becomes easier for you to multiply it, the cash flow with the discount factor, and get the discounted cash flow paste. It doesn't. You can undo. So rather than copy pasting it, just type it. It needs to be in 3 decimal places: 0.893, 0.797, 0.712. It's from that table. You don't have to memorize all this, okay? Since the table is there, use the table. 0.567. Now, when you want to find the discount factor, it is simply, okay, all these are dollars, right? Now, you just need to multiply this with this. Enter. Okay. And again, we'll change it to the whole number. Custom 0. Okay. You see? Now, what's next? It's just the net present value. So net present value is the sum of all this. Okay. Enter. You see? You are getting a negative figure here. It's a negative net present value. Okay. This also I will put it as custom and all. So 902,672. You see? If you would have got this in millions, this is how you have to do it. This divide by 1 million. 123, 123. You would have got it in 0.902. This would be in millions. Okay, but better to keep it, because at the end, even if you do the table in millions, remember at the end you have to get this answer only, the final full answer. Okay, so 902,672, it's a negative number. So what is your conclusion now? You have to write it here. The net present value of the project is negative, therefore this project you should not accept it. Before you consider the Galaxy company's offer, it is not worthwhile. This you have to write it here. Okay, now what's next? What's next? Next is appendix 2. Okay, so first appendix 1, under that comes your working for appendix 1, then appendix 2. Okay, follow this structure. Now it's appendix 2. You have to label it. Appendix 2 is value of the project, value after offer. You have to write it the full, okay, after Galaxy company's offer. Now tell me, list down your 5 variables. Whenever you are given the real option, you have to list down your 5 variables. That is PA, PE, time, risk, and standard deviation. Okay, so first we are going to find out PA, which is, what is PA here? PA. PA is your present value of your asset. Okay, present value of asset is your PA here. PA. First get this correct. Okay, then it is PE. What is PE? Remember, PE is always the sum of the cash flow that you have foregone because of the investment. Sum of the present value of the cash flow foregone in year 3, 4, 5. Opportunity cost. You have given up. If you go with the project, you are going to lose the cash flow from year 3, 4, and 5 because you are going to take it at the end of year 2. So that would be your exercise price. Okay. Sum of present value of cash flow foregone in year 3, I think something happened. Okay. PA. P. Sum of cash flow in, okay, P is sum of cash flow in year 2, year 3, year 4 and year 5. That is your PE. Then what's next? Risk free, time, standard deviation. What's your present value of underlying asset? I'm sorry, PE is not the sum of this. This is PA. PE will be given to you, the price that is offered. So here it is the sum of 3, 4 and 5. So we already have 3, 4 and 5. Present value. 3, 4 and 5. Enter. This I will keep it as custom. Better to keep everything as whole number. Okay. This is the present value. PE is already given here. They have told that 35 million at the start of year 3. Okay. They have offered to sell this project. That means Galaxy company wants to buy it at 35 million from you. So exercise price is 35 million. So 35 million, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 6 zeros. Then risk-free rate, already they have given you risk-free rate. It would be this one. Sorry, in 4 only you will get everything. It's 4%. Okay, 4% is the risk-free rate. And what's next? What's next? T, time. How many? 2 years, 2. Standard deviation 35%, so 0.35. So you have everything. Now what do you want to do? You have to use this Black-Scholes option pricing model to calculate your D1, D2, ND1, ND2. Remember, it's an option to sell. It's a put option. You first have to find call option, then put option, then add it with net present value. So here D1. Okay. Already formula is there. They have taken everything. So this saves time. Earlier this was not there. Earlier Black-Scholes option calculator was not there. Manually we had to do this. I remember when I was given this question, I manually had to do it. Right? So D1. Click here. So here. Okay. You just need to put the function here. You see, I have put everything. So that by using this, I could do. Now, is the logarithm of PA over PE for D1. Okay, so this one would be, okay, this is, wait a minute. So I think log cells cannot be modified. Okay, I think this cell is okay. Anyway, I think they have locked it. So I think, okay, you can't do any changes here. Okay, but we'll do it here. Okay, we'll try it here. So here you can see the function. If you click here, you can see the function. It is the logarithm of PA divided by PE plus risk-free rate plus 0.5 into standard deviation squared. You can also see the formula from here. Okay, it is only, okay, yeah, here it's D1. You see, maybe I can zoom this out for you a bit. You see D1 and D2 is given here, and the call option. Call option is here. This one is put. So here we'll try to use the calculator and get the function here only. Equal to logarithm, log. Just click here. Okay, it's ln. Okay, logarithm stands for ln here. You can't use log. It has to be equal to ln. Bracket. I just clicked the cell and I saw the functions. What is there? You see, it's ln. And for square root, they've used square root. So for ln, you have to use ln and click PA. This one. Okay, I think, okay, I will use here itself. D1. Okay, D1. So here equal to ln bracket. This divide by this. PA divide by PA. So I don't have to write the functions manually. PA divided by PE, logarithm of PA divided by PE, plus 0.4. No, you don't have to write all this. Just perform the function. Okay. This plus. Put a bracket. Put this in bracket. Okay. Plus 0.5. You can do it in 1.5. 0.5 is fixed. It's in the formula. Sorry, first risk-free rate. This plus 0.5. The 0.5 is fixed into standard deviation squared. Standard deviation, this squared you put to the power 2. Okay, into 2. This whole thing into 2. Divide by, again bracket. Standard deviation into square root of t. Okay, into SQRT, square root of t, that is time. I don't know why it went. So if you can't do this function in one go, you could do it in steps. For example, first you could find logarithm and keep it in one cell, then the numerator, then the denominator, and do it. It's a little time consuming, but since this is locked, I think because it's mock, in mock this is locked, but maybe in the real exam you'll be able to see this. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. I've got it. Listen. You have to first write here. Then only this will be opened. Okay. So PA. So from spreadsheet you can just copy. Copy this here. Paste. Okay, you have to first write the 5 variables here. Rather than writing it appendix 2 here, you can write it here. Okay, you can't make this cell, you can't expand the column. You can write here. So go from here, this. So don't do it in two places and waste time. Don't write appendix 2 here, just straight away do here. Okay, just write that appendix 2 will be shown in the Black-Scholes option pricing model. Paste. Now this one, R. R is 4%, 0.04. Time is 2. Standard deviation is 0.35. Enter. You see what happens the moment you press enter. I'm going to expand this for you. What happens? You see, automatically D1 is calculated, D2 is calculated, and D1 and D2 is calculated. Earlier, we had to manually do this. Now, automatically it is calculated. Right? So you don't have to worry about it. What about C and P? Why is C and P coming like this? Okay. So you can copy this figure, paste. Wait a minute, copy, paste. Okay. So here, let me tell you, if you can't see the figure, even if you click here, you see the number is coming here. And when you see here, the number is coming here. So what do? You just copy paste it to a cell. That's what I've done here. The moment I've copied it here and pasted here, the number came. Same for put. Copy and open this, make this little longer, and paste. So automatically the value for call and put comes. Okay. Now, what do you have to do? You have to simply add this put with the net present value earlier. That's what I'm going to do here. Okay. This now you don't have to do all this. You can just use the Black-Scholes option pricing model and put these variables there only. Don't do it twice. Here you can just copy paste call and put option. Okay, put. So just do the sum function here. This was my net present value. Okay. Remember, you can't drag it because that is somewhere else and this is in another cell. How can you do sum function? Just put comma. When you have to individually do like add from different cells where you can't drag, then do sum function, put comma and click this number and enter. Automatically it will perform the sum function for you. This I'm going to bring it to the whole number. Go here, custom 0. Okay. So negative number now becomes positive. 7234372. It's a positive number now. Make sure that it's in bold. Okay. So now you have to write another statement that even though calculation you'll be doing it in Black-Scholes option pricing model calculator, but as an appendix 2, you can show this working that you have added put with net present value, and then you have to write that statement that now net present value is positive, therefore project is worthwhile. Okay. Now so you have done all the workings in question number 1. Now you are ready with your figure. Now what's next? Report writing. You have to now write the report. And when you are writing the report, remember, requirement A and B does not come in your report. It's only C. First part, second part, and third part. Okay. A and B, no professional skill marks. So we'll first finish part C and then I will show you A and B. So now, again read the requirement. Value of the project after the Galaxy company offers the value of the project and assumption and additional business risk. So you need an introduction. Remember, how are you going to get your professional skill marks? 1, if you write it in the form of report, that means it should be with a proper introduction, subheading and conclusion. Okay, there you will get marks. So now let's do that. Always label clearly. if you're writing the C part. So C. In fact, what you would do is, don't do this. Put A, put B, keep space and just write C. Straight away go to C. Okay. Because you can always keep space. Since this is not a paper based anymore, there is no issue of how much space do I need to keep. Am I leaving too less space? Am I keeping too much space? You don't have to worry. Straight away go to C and start writing. So it's a report. Write that it's a report. Okay. Report to whom? Board of Directors. BOD. Wait a minute. Okay. Mention the name of the company. Always. It is CY. Cygnus company. Always the name company should be there. And this should be there. Report to this one. Make this bold. Okay. Because it's a heading. Like this. Then an introduction of 4 to 5 lines. How do you write the introduction? You go to your requirements and pick up from these 3 requirements. You are going to write that you are going to calculate the project before Galaxy's offer, after Galaxy's offers, going to take some additional business risk and advise whether to go with the project or not. That's what you're going to write in your introduction. I will show you how. Okay. Introduction, a candidate could write it in any way, provided you write all those 3 requirements. Okay. So you can write by saying this report. Don't say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Write this report. Write as a third person. Okay. This report recommends or going to suggest or advise whatever whether or not. Mention the company. Who is going to do this? The company, not you. Cygnus or Cygnus company should invest in a food packaging. Invest in a, which company is he? Always mention the industry he's at. This was been given to you in exhibit 1. Always exhibit 1 gives you that. Okay. Invest in a food packaging project. Mention the name of the country. Okay. Which country is it? Project in Asgard. Project in Asgard. Done. Following, what did they do? They reduced their protectionist measures. Following, that means after reducing his measure, right? Following Asgard reducing. This is why you have to understand the case study very well. Otherwise, writing introduction will be little difficult for you. If you don't know whether they have reduced the protection measure, you can't write this. But if you understood this, if you write this, you will get your professional skill marks also. Okay. Reducing its, and you have seen the case study, the exhibits. It's not so long, so it will not take so much of time as you think. This report recommends whether or not they should invest in information when following the other reducing its protectionist measures. Now, first requirement, second requirement, third requirement. I'm going to write in that order only. So it initially considers the value of the project without taking Galaxy company's offer into account. It initially considers the value of the project without taking Galaxy company's offer. You see, you are not writing whether you have calculated net present value or nothing like that. Whatever the requirement told you. Requirement told you calculate the project before and after Galaxy company's offer. So you are also going to write in the report, you are going to calculate without and with the Galaxy company's offer and additional business risk. Okay, very simple. Okay, so it initially calculates the value of the project without taking Galaxy company's offer into account. Then it considers the Galaxy company's offer. Then it comes the Galaxy company's offer. What's the next? First and second is done. Third. So the report concludes by recommending a course of action for the board of director. Okay. You have to write the report concludes with by recommending a course of action for board of director. Done. Now I'm going to write the subheadings. How many subheadings will be there? 3. Okay. Estimated value of the ASGAR project and initial recommendation. Okay. Or this is one subheading. Another way you could write is value of the project. I mean, you can write without Galaxy company's offer. Okay. Value of the project without Galaxy company's offer. Pre Galaxy company's offer. This is a subheading. Then value of the project post. This is my way of writing. In the answer you might see a different terms and you might see that both of these are written in same paragraph. That's fine. You can write them together in one under one subheading or two separate subheadings. I do it according to requirements. Then assumptions, because they told about assumptions. Then additional business risk. Then finally recommendation. And I always keep my subheadings bold. Okay, subheading should not be sentences, 1 or 2 words. Now you know I got a format to this report. So I can get my professional skill marks. Now under this I'm going to write. You can't write your recommendations or assumptions before writing this too first, okay? Now, I'm not going to write word by word, okay? But at least you will know the flow. First, how are you going to start this? First, always start with your calculation. You have got net present value. So start with this, okay? Start by saying net present value is negative, okay? Net present value is okay. This, I'm going to remove the bold. Net present value is initially negative. Give the amount. Always give the amount. Negative at. Write dollar. How much? 902. 672. You can go to your spreadsheet and check the amount. Go there and check. Or you can keep format this, like you can give like this. Wait. You see? You can always highlight your answer like this. Even for the real option. Now, I forgot one more thing. Before I proceed with the report, this net present value, you can calculate it using a shortcut. That means you don't have to copy paste this discount factor like this and then discount. No. After you get the cash flow in dollar, straight away you can find the net present value by using a function. You can do a function. How? I will show you how. Go to help formula, workspace help. Okay. Then commonly used spreadsheet function. I've made a video also on this before, but I still want to show you again that net present value you can use using a function. You see here, this one. So once you get the net present value, get the discount factor, comma, take your cash flow from 1 till the end, not year 0. Okay. So now the same thing I'm going to do here. Okay. Equal to NPV bracket. It is at 12%, so I'm going to put 0.12. It should be in fraction. First, always the discount factor, 12%. You can't put 12% or 12. You have to put 0.12, comma. You have to take the cash flow from 1 to 5, not 0. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enter. This is the present value. You have to deduct your initial investment from here. After that, this needs to be deducted. So here, equal to this minus this. Why we didn't take this one? Because year 0, there is nothing to discount. It would be the sorry, it would be the same amount. I'm sorry. I think something went wrong. I have taken the discounted factor. I've used the wrong amount, comma. I have to take this cash flow in dollar. This, enter. Okay. And after that, I have to deduct. Always you have to deduct your initial investment from here. Minus this, enter. Wait a minute. I think something went wrong. See, something went wrong because we have to get the same answer. Because our purpose is to avoid these 2 steps to find discount factor and this one. So put bracket and put this to this, enter. Okay, I have understood what I've done. When you have deducted, see, this is in minus. When you deduct, it's added. Minus minus becomes addition. So you have to do a sum function here. Because ultimately you want to find the difference, but this is a deduction in this one. So you do the sum function, comma, this, enter. You see, you are getting almost similar answer to this. The reason this is less than this is you will not get the exact amount. Why? This they have taken the exact amount. This I've rounded up the number to the whole number, remember? And then I've got this number. That's why, but almost it is similar to this. Okay. This is what I wanted to show you. So in exam, if you see you are running short of time, not getting time to find discount factor and then discount, then the moment you get your cash flow in dollar, straight away apply the net present value function. Okay. Now coming back to the report. So initial, always, whenever question like this comes, write the net present value is negative, write the amount. Okay. Dollar, this much. Not only this, you have to refer this. You have to write in bracket C appendix 1. Okay. Because this looks more professional. This will give you the professional skill marks if you write like this. After that, this you have to write. Just writing net present value is negative and doing nothing about it is not enough. You have to write this would suggest they should not undertake the project. This would suggest This is your recommendation. Okay, this would suggest that Cygnus company should not undertake the project. Okay, next. This is in the first para. So we'll go to the second one. Now what's next? This is enough. If you write this much for this is enough. Okay, that's it. Go to the next subheading. I know it's very less, but it's enough. Go here and talk about here. You have to say, okay, you have to talk that this option to sell is a real option. You have to mention this in your answer. Okay, so not be in bold. Galaxy companies offer is considered to be a real option. Okay, a real option for Asgard. You also have to mention. So you have to define a little. Just calculation is not enough. Otherwise, you don't have much to write. First, you have to write is a real option. Then you have to write what type of option it is. Option to sell is an abundant option, remember. Then you have to say it's a put option. You have to write all this in your report. Otherwise, you are not going to get the marks. Okay. So since it is an offer to sell the project, as an so it's an abundant option, abundant abandonment option. We have studied this. What is it? Put option. It's a put option. You have to mention all this in your report. A put option value is calculated. See, when you are calculating, you are not able to explain all this. You have identified as a put option, but does the board of directors know it? Why you have calculated put option? Why you have added with net present value? No. That's why you have to write this in your report. You have to explain them line by line. It's a real option. It's a put option. That's why you have calculated. Okay. So abandonment put option is calculated based on the a put option is calculated using you can write based on the assumptions and all is calculated using Black-Scholes option pricing model. Okay. So what you have done, you have added put option to the net present value. You have to write. Okay. Put option value is added to net present value. Net present value. Okay. Put option is added to net present value. Then what? Put option is added to net present value. Then it showed a positive figure indicating this project is worth taking, or you can say going ahead. So keep your sentences simple and short. Okay, you don't have to use complex English language to get your professional skill marks. No. Okay. So even though immediately you can also write the statement, I'm not writing it, that immediately you might not get the cash, but later on you will get there is a volatility that there will be an increase in the future cash flow. That means this project is worth taking, not currently, but later on. So now you have to write the amount. After taking the amount, what is the amount in the second para? Even under subheading, you have to use different subheadings, sorry, different paragraphs. Okay. First paragraph you explained. It's a real option. Option to sell is an one-win option. It's a put option. You have used Black-Scholes option pricing model. You have added put option with net present value, got a positive figure, all those things. Now you'll write the amount, calculation part. You see, it's very short. But if you see the answer is little lengthier, it's fine. You will still get full marks because I always used to write short. Okay. If you want to know a perfect example of a person who writes less and get more marks is me. Okay. I've not seen anyone who prefers to write less and still get good marks. Rather, I see the other way. People write so much still they still get less marks. There's a reason why, because they beat around the bush. They keep writing, waste their time and not able to complete the paper. But I focus on writing the main parts, important things, keep it short. Okay, and then go to the next question. So I keep on doing this. For my entire ACC, all the papers I've been doing this. I don't write so much as what people used to think that I write so much. That's why I get good marks. No, I write less. But those less also they are like important points. You can't miss them out. You have to write it. Okay. Okay. Now, so now after taking the option into account, the value is dollar. How much? You can copy paste it from your Excel. Okay, I'll go to my Excel spreadsheet, go down, copy and paste. Okay, done. Always put the number. Okay, so after taking the option into account, the value is this much. Now what I'm going to write? See appendix 2. So that's why in appendix 2 put this value. Okay, so what should you do? You can even write this conclusion here. Okay, this suggests that this project should be taken. What you have written here indicating the project is worth taking, you can write it here also. Okay, you can just copy paste it there. That's it. Now assumptions. Okay, next is assumptions. So that's over. Assumptions. Now before coming to assumptions, let me tell you how you are getting this marks. It's very important. You should know how you are collecting this marks, otherwise you don't know what to write. Okay, so in C I will tell you how we have got this marks. Okay, 1 mark you will get for predicting your exchange rate. That is this. I'll go to spreadsheet. 1 mark is for this working. Wait a minute. Where is working? Yes, 1 mark is for this. For predicting your exchange rate. You see 1 mark only. That means the first time you put this, you need to be correct. My dear students, if you get wrong there, you will lose that 1 mark. And if you think logically, there is very high chance that you can't make a mistake. If first time you have done it correctly, you can't make the mistake. It should be correct for all the other years. Why? Because you're just dragging it to the other cell. Every time you are multiplying it by 8% inflation, dividing it by 2% inflation rate. So you can't get wrong. That's why I'm telling you first time get it correct. Be very careful what you are multiplying, what you are dividing first time only. If you are correct here, you will not get it wrong in the other stages also, because you are going to carry forward this and it will be correct. So even if you can see it's for 5 years, don't think 1 mark for first year, second mark for second year, third mark for third year, fourth and fifth. No, it's 1 mark only for all the 5 years exchange rate. Okay, so 1 mark here. Let me tell you. Oh wait, how many marks is it for? Go to the requirement and see. It is for 12 marks. Okay, so we are going to show you how that 12 marks is got. 1 mark from here. Okay, next 1 mark is for your sales revenue. This one. Even if so many workings are there, still 1 mark only. 1 mark for your sales. If you get your sales figure wrong the first time, remember, you will get it wrong for the entire and you will lose that 1 mark. That's why I tell you, even though it takes a little more time in the beginning, I know students often hurry, they panic, they do everything hurriedly, and no. And then they have to come back and change. Don't do that. First time itself, if you get it correct, my dear friends, you don't have to come back again and change the figure. Get it first time only correct. So that in your exam, let me tell you this. Okay? Students often think they can come back and change the figure. They can come back and write this, that. No, you will not get that time. Especially in your professional skill level paper. You will not get that time. Time is short, you have to do a lot of calculations. This is only 50 marks. You have other two calculations, question 2 and 3, 25 marks each. So you will not get. In that you have to write as well as calculate. You see already 2 hours went and still we are in part C. We have A and B also to do. We haven't finished the report yet. So now you can get it, right? But in your question 1, you can only spend up to 90 minutes only. The reason I'm taking more time is because I'm explaining you also. So yeah. That's why you have to practice. Initially you will take more than 1 hour. 1.5 hours also you might take. So when you practice 50 marks question over and over again, 10-20 times, that time will come down. Initially that time will come down. The thing is not to get perfect each time. The thing is to get faster. The more you do, the faster you become, because you know at this place this will be there, at this place this will be there. Your subconscious mind will pick up. You don't have to read every time. You will know this is where cost of capital is given. This is where now risk free rate will be given. This is where I have to do Black-Scholes option pricing model. You will know it. You see, first time when you open a question, how do you struggle? You don't know what is where. You go here, there, you keep on opening your exhibits, finding. But the more and more you do, you know. Okay, exhibit 1, I will get this information. Exhibit 2, experience. Okay, experience matters. So anyway, 1 mark is for your sales. That means you have to get your inflation correct. Okay, price and batches automatically it will be correct only. Okay, next 1 mark is from your production and selling cost, working 3, same like sales. Okay, special packaging cost is 2 marks. 2 marks is special packaging cost, working 4. Why did I say working 4? Because automatically whatever you do in your working, you will copy paste in your table, right? So your working has to be correct. That is the one you're putting in the table. So working 4, 2 marks. Why 2 marks for special packaging? Because this is not in AP. First this is given in dollar, you convert it to AP, again you convert it into dollar at the end, in the main table, not here. Because it's in dollar, you then have to convert it into AP. So because of that conversion, 1 mark. Other mark is to calculate the correct SP. So 2 marks. Training and development cost, 1 mark. Tax allowable depreciation, 2 marks. Okay, sorry, tax and tax allowable depreciation. Tax allowable depreciation 1 mark, tax 1 mark. Then somewhere I think in exhibit 1 they have mentioned about some, yes, it's exhibit 1. See, they have wrote something, initial investigation costing is 100,000, right? If you ignore this cost, you will get another 1 mark. You see, for ignoring this cost, why? Some of the students will put this cost also. No, if you put this in initial investigation cost in your table, you're not going to get 1 mark. You're going to lose that 1 mark. Why? Why? Tell me why you avoided this. This is a sunk cost. Cost that has been incurred in the past. Research costs, investigation costs, market, whatever, testing cost. You ignore this cost. You don't put it in the table. This cost you ignore. Okay. Then you get working capital, 1 mark. Okay. But you don't get any marks for initial investment. See here. You don't get mark for this separately. Wherever working is required, you do that. But like your sale of land, investment, you don't get marks here. Why? You don't have to do any working here. Copy paste, that's it. Just copy paste. And students will not get wrong also. It's very easy. Investment is in the year 0, sale of land is in the final year. It's easy. So no working for there, but you have to put it in the table. Otherwise your net present value will be wrong. And finally, only 1 mark for net present value. Okay. So that's how you get your 12 marks. Now, what's next? Put option. So call option, call value, 1 mark. Put value, 1 mark. Value of the project after you add it with net present value, another 1 mark. And because see, your second requirement is for 6 marks. So 3, 3, 3. Where does the other 3 marks comes from? Other 3 marks comes from inputting the correct values for the variable. There are 5 variables here. So if you put this variables correctly, you will get 3 marks. Okay. Your standard deviation, your time, your risk, your PE, your PA. 3 marks. So that gives you 6 marks. Then the last part of C. This is for 12 marks. You can't underestimate the power of writing discussion questions. Calculations is okay. I know you will do it well. Discussion is 12 marks. So how do you get this 12 marks exactly? This is divided into many parts. Okay. Estimated value for this one is around 2 to 3 marks. Okay. Up to 2 marks per assumption. So decide how many assumptions you have to write. Okay. Then up to 2 marks for additional business risk. Decide. And finally, one recommendation, 1 to 2 marks only. So recommendation is just 1 to 2 marks. Majority of marks comes from your additional business risk and assumptions. Okay. So each assumption, each paragraph, 1 paragraph or 1 assumption. That's how you do. Okay. So now we are going to go back to our word processor without wasting much of time. Straight away write additional business risk and assumption. So tell me, I'm not going to write full assumptions. I'm not going to write sentences here because if I write the full answer, you anyway have the answer with you. You will get it when you practice it on CV platform. At the end of the exam, you will get it. So you can read the answers there. Let me tell you the assumptions. I will only write short words, okay? Main points. First assumption, what is it? Easiest assumptions, write first. Don't think in a complex way and waste too much time in thinking. Whatever the easiest things you can get, straight away write it. Because I told you time is short. In case if you are not able to write all the assumptions, at least some assumptions you have, right? This is the mistake often students do, let me tell you. They want to write something very difficult. They don't know what to write first, second. They waste so much of time structuring the answer. But let me tell you, write the easiest first. What is the easiest? Well, see this table. Go to your spreadsheet table. See this table that you have used. All these are assumptions, isn't it? Sales is assumption. This is assumption. I mean the prices, the quantity, tax. All these are assumptions. So it's very easy. Write this. That you have assumed that these are accurate. You have assumed that is accurate. You have assumed this is accurate. This is the easiest assumption you can write and get 1 mark. So write it. It is assumed that all the figures, 2 variables, okay, are accurate. What are the write the figures also, give examples also. So first assumption, I'll just write in one paragraph. You can write this in full sentences. I'm not writing full sentences, I'm only writing as a bullet point. Okay, figures are accurate. This is one assumption. I'm going to write in bracket the figures, first assumption, because this is the easiest to write. And every time you will see, whenever you are given net present value, this is the first assumption only. Figures are accurate, figures are accurate, figures are accurate. Check it from the past paper. What is it? First is sales. Okay, sale is also based on assumption. Then what's even cost is based on assumption. Then what's tax? Even tax is an assumption. Then what's next? Initial investment. This is something every year you can write. Okay, all the questions will have sale, cost, tax, initial investment. Then what's next? And their recovery. If you write 2 to 3, it's fine, but I'm writing all the possible answers in case some of you might write from this list. Okay, even inflation figures, wherever assumption is used, right? Inflation and cost of capital, 12%. Isn't it an assumed figure? It is. And cost of capital. You see, first assumption. Second paragraph. Next assumption. What could it be? See, I will tell you one thing, another thing, okay? This technique, I don't think anyone has ever taught you. No one taught me also. But while I was studying, I discovered this on my own, and it greatly helped me to an extent that I apply this in almost all my ACCA papers. And it saves a lot of time. It creates me, I mean, it helps me not to go to the panic mode. And it also helps me to fear of missing out something, because I know that I've written this. That is, follow the working. You have done some working here, no? Go to spreadsheet. You have done working. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I always write also in that order. Like whether my assumption or additional business risk. For example, Forex. If I have to write an additional business risk, I will start from Forex. Then I will write about sales. Then I will write about cost. Then I will write special packaging, tax, and all those things. So follow this order. Or you can even follow this main table also. The way you have written here. Sales. This, tax. Then you come to the real option and then you start talking about real options. Assumptions. Standard deviation, time and all. You see? So I follow this order. Calculation order only I follow in writing also. Okay, so you also can follow this, or it's not, I'm not saying strictly you have to follow, you can write it in any order, but it's always better to go with a system. It's easier, you don't have to think so much. Otherwise you have to think what to write, what not to write, what to leave, time is not there. So next, so this makes me straight away go to exchange rate. Now next assumption is exchange rate, Forex. How did I predict exchange rate? Using inflation rate of the two countries. It's an assumption, no? So write about that assumption. Forex. Calculated on inflation differential. This is the next assumption. I'm not writing the full sentence. This is not enough for you to write this much. I'm only giving you bullet points. You have to develop the sentence. I'm telling you. It is assumed that Forex was calculated based on the inflation rates of the two countries. Isn't it? But if you think unlikely, okay, exchange rate will move fully in line with the differences in the inflation rate, right? Is it? No. Exchange rate will not move in line exactly like how inflation rate differs. What is the difference between inflation rate? 8% and 2%. Difference is 6%. That means your forex also should move with the 6% difference. Does it move? In reality, no. This is just an assumption. Third assumption. You can talk about tax, double tax treaty. It is given to you. Most of the questions have this double tax treaty. So in your assumption also you can write double tax treaty. Okay. So I will write double tax treaty, DDT. This is your third assumption. What can you write in it? It was assumed that Sinex will be utilizing this double tax treaty. That means they are not going to pay any additional tax in the country where it is based. Okay, they're not going to pay any additional tax. That's the third assumption. Fourth assumption. Fourth assumption, you can start from Black-Scholes option pricing model. All the variables here are based on assumptions only. So each assumption you can talk about each variable. One is standard deviation, one is risk-free rate. At least these two you can talk. Okay, so risk-free. Okay, one is risk-free. That is, it is assumed that short-dated dollar treasury bond is equivalent to risk-free rate for Black-Scholes option pricing model. Isn't it? We have assumed that is 4%. So that you can write. Again, from Black-Scholes option pricing model, next assumption is standard deviation. I'm using short forms here. Don't use this, by the way. Isn't it? Standard deviation 35%. And it's accurate. We assume that. What's the next assumption? You see how many assumptions we are getting, one after the other. Uncertainty in project. See, next assumption is we assume that Galaxy will buy this project in 2 years' time, right? And there is no uncertainty. But isn't it better that they make this offer more binding, like by having a legal contract, right? So that is an assumption that they will certainly buy this project. It's an assumption. Sorry, not uncertainty, but certainty in project is the assumption. You don't have to write all these assumptions, okay? See the marks and write 2 assumptions per mark. So at least write 3 to 4 or at least 3 assumptions, okay? I'm just writing all the available assumptions that is possible in this answer. Next, this is the last assumption. What is it? That assumption is based on Black-Scholes option pricing model. If you studied assumptions for this model, you will be able to answer this better. That is, that this model assumed perfect market exists. Interest rate are constant. Log normal distribution of asset prices. Okay. Standard deviation is known and it is constant. But it's a real option, right? Neither of these assumptions apply for a real option. So you have to treat this as an indicative rather than definitive, the value of the option. Okay, I'll list down. What is it? Perfect market. Perfect market is 1. What is it? Constant interest rate. Interest rate changes, no? But we assumed it's constant. And log normal, because we use this model logarithm. So and we assume this log distribution of asset prices. Constant interest rate logarithm, also constant standard deviation. And it's known. Next. Underlying asset can be traded. This is a knowledge question, okay? If you have studied my lecture properly, assumptions of BSOP, you will be able to answer all this. It's from there only. So you also have to say this is a real option. So neither this assumptions apply to real options. It's a real option. So therefore, BOD needs to treat the value obtained as indicative rather than definitive. Okay? That you can write. Next, it's over. Assumptions are over. Additional business risk. Here also, I'm not going to write the full sentences. Okay, you will be able to do it. But you have to know the paragraphs that you have to write. Okay, this is often long. It's very long. You don't have to write that much. What do you have to write? See, start by introducing. Okay, just immediately don't write additional business risk, because in a report it doesn't look nice. Even if you will get marks, if you I write correct additional business risk, you will get the marks, but you will lose professional skill marks, because professionally you don't write report like that. You first have to come from the previous paragraph to the next paragraph. When you come like this is how you write. Okay, so you write before taking the final decision to proceed with the project or not. Okay, company needs to okay, Cygnus company needs to take into consideration additional risks. Okay, my spellings might be wrong, but it's okay, it doesn't matter. For you it matters, but not for me, because you are the one who's giving exams. Okay, anyway, additional business risk. Okay, and rest you can add more if you want. Okay, and where possible, where they can mitigate this risk. So the main business risks are as follows. Main are main business risk as follows. Like this you introduce. One or two line is enough. One line is also enough. Now you write one by one. One business risk, one paragraph. Okay. Now tell me. See, when you're structuring your business risk also, you are going to get professional skill. How? Right? You have to prioritize your risk. Most important risk needs to be written first. Okay? Compared to the ones which are indirect or less, not so much influence. Some risks have so much influence. First understand. Okay, this is an international business in a different country. What type of risk could occur? Two major risks. One is political risk, the other one is currency risk. So this you can talk about. So you can start by talking about political risk. Okay, I'm just writing political risk. I will explain you, but I'm not going to write it. Okay, you can write it. Develop on these points. Okay, so you can talk about political risk. How? You can say that current government might be unstable, and if the government changes, then the restrictions that you have imposed, I mean, you have lifted, you might have to impose again. Okay, and also they might limit your remittances, the new government. So you have to see all this. Okay, so that means you have to advise. You have to say that company needs to assess this, the likelihood of this happening. Okay, next, risk. Give a solution also, problem and a solution. That means if this risk happens, company needs to find alternative way of overcoming this risk, like that. Next, what's next? You can talk about the infrastructure of that country. Okay, you might want to know that economically those countries are stable, they are doing well. the countries where you decide to sell, right? The infrastructure, road, rail, those are strong. Okay. Then they have talked about one product here, that is about special packaging. Okay, special packaging. You can mention this. See, if you mention this, you will not only get your technical but professional skill as well, because often students miss out on this one. For this case study, you can talk about special packaging. Okay, here you can say that company wants to ensure whether they can export this into ASGAT, and also they have to see the likelihood of protectionist measures being lifted and not being reimposed in the future. Third, what could be third? You have to keep a line, okay? When you're writing a paragraph, leave on space. I hope you know that. What's next? Taxes. It's an international trade, so you have to talk about taxes. Taxes will have an impact. What can you talk about taxes? You have to see whether country imposes new tax or not, whether they limit the expenses allowable for tax or not. Okay, you have to make sure that this do not change. And if you see, you can mention this also. You will get your commercial acumen skills. That is by showing that you are aware, you know the industry very well. What is it? By saying that taxes in ASGAT is higher than Sinex, isn't it? ASGAT is having 25%, whereas Cygnus is just 20% tax. You can highlight this in your answer. Okay, so they are paying higher. So even though bilateral tax treaty exists, the company Sinex have to make sure that tax rate does not change adversely for them. This you can write. What's next? Changes in regulation. Because it's a new country. For new country, these are the risks that will occur. What can you talk about it? They have to protect themselves from adverse regulations. Okay, maybe they can have the best business structure to protect themselves from some legal regulations, like they can set up as subsidiary company, joint venture, or branch to undertake this project. You can even give this advice. So it's better to familiarize yourself with regulations like employees' health, safety law, employment law, legal restrictions around land ownership, all those things. Next, difference cultural risk is the next. This is very common. You can talk about it. Okay. Obviously, different countries will have different cultural risk. Okay. So this product was made based on some mix, right? Product mix, this batches. So you have to see some food might be suitable for your country, but might not be suitable for the other country, right? They might not eat that food. So you have to see, take care of this. Okay. Next, keep your answers short. 2 to 3 lines per each point is enough. You don't have to elaborate and elaborate and elaborate what is there in your answers. Answers are pretty much lengthier than the standard answer that is expected of you in the exam condition. So do not take those answers as actual answers. Take them as a learning thing, like textbook, how you learn. Keep your answer short. Then what's next? Quality. Quality control. Because this is a food packaging. In food packaging, quality matters a lot. Okay? You have to see that food batches that is produced in your country is similar to the country where you are going to export. Okay? Procedures are there. and other risks also you can talk about, like loss of reputation through operational error. Okay, all those things. I'm not writing it here. I think that's enough. Now recommendation. This you have to learn. How do you recommend? Two paragraph is enough. One paragraph is also enough. Keep your recommendation in introduction short. And recommendation is not nothing new. It is from the old piece of information. So how do you recommend? First, you say, you can start by saying initially it was negative, then you have took the option value, it was positive, then you told it. You can say that way also, other way around also you can say. Okay. So with the Galaxy offer and without the Galaxy offer. Recommendation. That's what you have to write here. Okay. Let's say with. Okay, first I will write without because I always go by the order. But in the answer, if you read, they have first started by with. I'm going to write without. Okay, you can follow any order, doesn't matter. So without Galaxy companies offer. Okay, the net present value. I'm going to use simple terms. Okay, net present value is negative. So what? If you want, you can write the amount. If you don't want, don't write the amount. It's fine. It's your choice. Okay. Without the negative is negative. Okay. So it was recommended not to go ahead with the project. So without this offer, NPV was negative. It was recommended not to go ahead with the project. However, see, always give. Don't just straight away say don't take or take. I'll tell you this. AFM is a gray subject. You can't advise strongly no or strongly yes. It has to be in between because there are other things you have to take into consideration. So when you're advising, also keep your answer like this. This is this. However, you should do this. Okay. So whenever question is on net present value, you can talk about sensitivity or scenario analysis because there are a lot of variables that was used to calculate that net present value. So you can't independently depend on net present value calculation. That's why you have to do all this sensitivity or scenario analysis. Okay, this you have to talk in your answer. So that's what we are going to do. However, it is recommended to do sensitivity analysis and also scenario analysis. You can mention it. Okay. Okay. Also, there could be a possibility follow on. You know follow on, right? Once you take a project, later on you might get more projects in future. So possibility of follow on projects in Asgard. Okay. So there could be possible follow on project if you have decided to go ahead with the project. Like that, you can feel it. So this also you can take it into consideration before rejecting the project based on net present value only. Second paragraph, you are going to write about with the offer, it is positive. I'm not writing it, you can write it, okay, with offer, and then fill in the blanks. So with this offer, it is recommended they can go ahead with the project because it was showing a positive value. As long as the director is satisfied, the offer is reliable. Always give financial recommendation based on financial, and students often neglect that is non-financial. You have to talk in your recommendations, okay? So you can say with the offer you can go ahead with the project, but okay, you also have to mention this, that there are uncertainty in the accuracy of those figure, okay, and also sensitivity scenario analysis are needed to assess those uncertainties. This you have to write in your recommendation. So that's it, report is over. Make sure that you read a full report, okay, once, to see how it is. Every report looks similar, only information number in it are different. Otherwise the way of doing structure is same. Starts with the introduction, then some subheadings. Those subheadings are requirements only and recommendations, and ends with a recommendation. And every recommendation is same. Do sensitivity analysis, do sensitivity analysis, do sensitivity analysis. So now it's over. Now let us calmly do A and B. C is over. C is the major part. That is over. Okay. Here, how can you avoid a block on dividend remittances and WTO? See, I will tell you, when you read a case study, you can also make up for yourself theory questions, possible questions that could be asked on that topic. Earlier, I told you how you can predict, okay, at least up to 70-80%. I'm not saying 100% you will get your predicted questions, but you can predict questions based on the case study. How? Theory questions I'm talking about. How? Those will be the subject of that case study. For example, in your case study, they have talked about here, they have talked about WTO. Okay, immediately you have to know one question on WTO they will ask you. It will come very easy to predict. See the subject, they have mentioned WTO. So one question you see, one requirement is on WTO only. One question they will ask. What is the question they could ask about WTO? Two things: role and advantages and disadvantages. They only often ask this much only. They don't ask more than this. So now you know what to learn. When you are learning, I'm telling you these things. Not on your exam you have to predict. When you are learning, students often ask me, ma'am, how do I learn my theory questions? So you learn this way. You take a pen, take a paper, make a list. Okay. Do enough past paper. Focus only on theory questions. Go through the case study. Don't see the requirement and see what questions could come. First, predict your questions. Make up your question. If you know these questions can come, then you know these things I have to study. So this is WTO. How many questions can come on WTO? Minimum. Role, advantages, disadvantages. More than this, they will not ask you also. They don't require more than this. Even in your case, even like my lecture, even in your textbook, they have given this only. Role, advantages, disadvantages. So now you know from W2 you study this. Next question, what they could ask. See, this is about international, uh, what do I say, transaction, project. So when the project, international investment, okay, when a project is international, think about international aspect, what they could ask. One is very common, that is on your remittances, right? This does not come if the project was domestic, but because this is international, other question is on remittances, dividend remittances. You see, next question itself is on dividend remittances. What could come? One, how a country could block dividend remittances. That is one question. Another question is, if they have blocked, what is the strategy to overcome, to avoid? That is another question, because we have studied this. These are theory parts. So now you know what you have to study. How you know? Now you know how it could be blocked. Secondly, you know how to overcome those blockage. Two things. Two things they will ask you, because It's an international transaction. So dividend remittances is also very common. Other thing they could ask is ethical also, ethical questions. But in this question, they have not asked. Otherwise, they ask. So, for example, if your case study have mentioned reverse takeover, they will ask a question on reverse takeover theory part straight away. If they have asked a question on, let's say, what is it? Islamic finance, they will ask that question in the requirement. This is how you know straight away. So one is dividend remittance, one is WTO. Okay. B is role of WTO, benefits and drawbacks. So 2 marks each, 2 marks for role, 2 marks for benefit, 2 marks for drawbacks. A, 4 marks. Strategies to overcome block on dividend remittances. 2 marks. So two strategies you can give. Okay. One for identifying the strategy, one for explaining the strategy. Okay. I'm not writing the answer. Answers are there. Take your leisure time, nicely read the answer. Don't read the answer. In fact, first do the questions, then read the answer. But I'm going to tell you how to write this answer. Okay. A. So when you go to word processor, now you open, now you see C is already done. You have kept some space for A and B. Good. Now you can write here. That is strategy. Two strategy. Write paragraph, sorry, subheading. Then under that you write. Tell me the strategies. There are 4 strategies that we have studied. 4 to 5, I think. Don't write all the 5. Any 2 is enough. Tell me. One is transfer pricing. Always when you write a point, first thing, can you write on it based on the case study? If you can write, if your answer is yes, write that point only. If you can't write, if you're struggling to write on that point, don't mention that point in your answer. Okay. Transfer pricing is one strategy. This you have identified. We'll explain it. Don't worry. Next strategy. What is the next? Second. At least 2 you have to give to get 4 marks. Royalty. What are the other 2? I'm not writing them, but you can. Management charges. The other one is parallel loan. Okay. If you can write about those 2, no problem. Go ahead and write. But the answer focused on this 2. Under transfer pricing, what can you write? Tell me. See, this company, Sinex, they can increase their transfer price that is paid by its subsidiary. Okay. For what? For gearing system component. They are giving some component, no? Some special component and on. For that, they can increase the transfer price. What happens because of that? Tell me. When the transfer price is increased, who is paying to whom, by the way? You are not paying, you are receiving that. So you are receiving a higher price. That means you are profiting, your subsidiary is at loss. So it doesn't matter whether your subsidiary in the other country is at loss or not. You are getting the maximum profit. So what's happening? If the government, they put a block, they say that okay, this much of your dividend you can't remit back to your parent company. No issue. Rather than taking it as a dividend, now you take it as a profit. Because as a profit, there's no limit. You can take as much as you want. So you are getting your amount, but as a profit, not a dividend. That is the difference. So when you charge the higher transfer price, you can do this from your subsidiary. That is in another country. Now they have to pay you a higher price. So increase your transfer price. Remember, as a group, this is not beneficial because you are profiting at the expense of your subsidiary. Your subsidiary is getting a loss, you are having a profit. Okay. For royalty, what can you explain? See, currently, Sinex is not charging any royalty or management charge. Okay. But if they do this, transfer of the subsidiary is transferred to you. That's what's happening. So you don't need a dividend. Okay. That's it. That's it. Enough. Parallel loan also you can explain. Answer is given. Coming to B. B, 3 things. Role, advantages, disadvantages of WTO. Okay, so it's your choice. You can write it as a paragraph or write subheading and then write under it role of WTO, benefits of WTO, drawbacks of WTO, like that you can write. So tell me, I'm not writing the answer for you. Tell me. Tell me two roles at least. This is pure knowledge. You have studied this in your textbook, or if you have watched my lecture, you have come across this. WTO, the function is to reduce the barrier for international trade. Okay. The other one is they encourage free trade by applying most favored nation. That means if there are reduction in tariffs, okay, offered to one country by another, WTO says offer the same treatment to other members. Okay. They also set up as a forum for negotiation. Okay. One is support, encourage free trade by reducing protectionist measure of the role of WTO. The other one is settle disputes. Okay. Advantages of WTO. What is advantages? One advantages is if they reduce the protectionist measure, ASGAT, other countries also will do the same towards ASGAT. They will not retaliate. Okay. So because of this, okay, ASGAT could specialize and gain a competitive advantage in certain products and compete globally. Drawback. Drawback is certain industries needs to be protected. So if these protectionist measures are reduced, those industries will suffer, especially infant or old industries which are not able to compete. They are not competing well. For few years, initially they need to be protected. But if these protectionist measures are reduced, they are no longer protected. That's the drawback. Okay. So what happens because of this? Unemployment, local industry, local producers suffer, right? That's it. So that's it for question number 1. And question number 2 and question number 3, I'll be making separate videos. Okay. This video is only for question number 1, which is a 50 marks question, where I wanted to show you how to write a report, how to do calculations, how to use Black-Scholes option pricing model, then write theory questions. Okay. So that's it.